Good evening. I'm Lauren Ware, and I'm going to speak about risk analysis. The two main types of risk analysis, which are qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative risk analysis is defined as relative measure of risk or asset value based on ranking or separation into descriptive categories such as low, medium, high, not important, important, and very important. And usually these are giving a ranking on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the most important and 10 being the least important. Quantitative analysis, on the other hand, is defined as the use of measurable, objective data to determine asset value, probability of loss, and associated risk. When looking at projects to pursue or assets to buy, it's easy to look at the value to you, the dollar amount, how much it's going to cost you, how much you can possibly gain from certain financial decisions. With quantitative analysis, this is usually used by people who are more risk adverse, meaning that the probability of loss will hurt them more than someone who is less risk averse. Quantitative analysis, you can use things such as the price of a stock, the possible loss or gain of a stock, the cost of pursuing a project monetarily versus the loss if a project is pursued. When doing a qualitative analysis, you look at factors such as the availability of an asset, the availability of the means to control an asset, and the availability and knowledge you have in the field which you're pursuing. When using one analysis, you can come to a pretty precise conclusion on which assets to buy and which projects to pursue and not pursue, but you must also use a quantitative analysis to put a dollar figure with your project, such as you want to buy a company, you know it's going to cost you $10,000, and you want to know how much you will gain from the project in the next 5 years. With this, you will use a quantitative analysis to understand where you will stand financially in the future if pursuing this project. With a qualitative analysis, you want to know if you decide to invest in a coal mine, are the resources going to be there in order for you to run this coal mine? Are you going to have the knowledge and the know-how in order to run this coal mine? Are you in a geographic location that is conducive to you running a coal mine? One analysis on its own can give you a good picture of which projects to pursue or which assets to buy, but it's better to use a mix of the two in order to get a more clear picture of which projects to go after and which assets to pursue. Someone who is less risk adverse, meaning someone probably in their 20s or 30s, who has time until retirement to lose a little and gain a little and take more risk in order to come out in a more preferred position, versus someone who is more risk averse, usually someone closer to retirement age, that if they lose all of their money, they do not have a lot of time to regain it in order to get to their projected point or their desirable outcome. When combining the two practices, you can take into account multiple risk factors and assign personal value and monetary value from an economic standpoint to set you up for success in the future. Risk is something that is viewed differently by all people. Myself, I'm less risk averse because I'm young. I do have time to reattain assets if assets are lost. I do have education and the knowledge to set myself up for success in the future if a possible loss is suffered. Most folks look at risk as, if I cross the street, I'm going to get hit by a car. Yeah, if you cross the street, you're going to get hit by a car if cars are coming. But if there are no cars coming, the risk of you getting hit by a car is less than it would be if you crossed a busy road in traffic. So if you decided to buy a stock which has suffered great gains and suffered great losses, that means that you can possibly make a lot of money on this investment. But also on the flip side, you can possibly lose a lot on this investment. On the other hand, if you go with a stock that doesn't fluctuate much, you're looking for something that's less risky because you want to take the uncertainty of risk out of the equation. And this is how risk aversion is looked at. And using the qualitative and quantitative methods combined, you can take that uncertainty and minimize it as much as possible so that your gain will always outweigh your loss. With that being said, that is my take on risk analysis. The two measures of risk analysis, qualitative and quantitative, and how they can be used in the financial management industry, and how they can be used when purchasing financial assets or for companies when pursuing projects or not pursuing projects. Thank you.